Is in. Hello, Marco.
Hello.
You alright?
Yeah,
Yeah, what were you for today for?
I'm meeting Trevor and Blade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got someone for you to say hello to. Are you ready?
No.
Alright, mate.
All right, lads. How are we?
Alright. I'm not bad, you.
Yeah, good. Not too bad, obviously, other than United. But
Terrible week, weren't it?
honestly, those last three games. I mean, we might come into it on the video, but like after the Coventry game, you're like, here we go. We set up, and then
It's
I
like,
think obviously the Oxford one was really disappointing. But the fact that we haven't seemed to react or respond in the subsequent two fixtures either, especially against Plymouth, where we actually had the flipping lead, and against bottom of the league, it's just, playoffs, here we come.
yeah. So, with the three losses, what would you say the biggest problem is? What do you reckon the issue is at the moment?
I think, to be fair, I don't think we're playing much worse than we have all season. I think there's been lots of games where we've played like this. I mean, I wasn't at Swansea away, but from the highlights I've seen and from what I've heard, Swansea away, Luton away, another one, Portsmouth at home, probably the poster boy of the season, really, in terms of we haven't had great performances, but we've like got by on moments. And I think now we're sort of, I think now results are catching up with performances. To be fair, those games early on in the season, I don't think we've been playing particularly better. It's just that we may have got a bit. They're sort of on a knife edge, and they happen to have fallen in our favour a lot of the season. I think, obviously, I think ever since losing, there's sort of been two halves this season where, with and without Suter, like Anel and Robinson, just especially Robinson in his last few games, just isn't working. And I think for the most part of the season, like I could say about these three games, but I think it's reflective of most of the season. No sort of sense of identity, sense of sort of chemistry between the players. It still isn't there. It still feels like it's, and we've got 4 games of the season left. Feels like we're about 4 games in.
Yeah, it does.
We're still reliant on give the ball to Hamer, see what he can do. Let's try and get to Campbell, see what he can do. And it's got us quite far. It's got us up to third so far this season. But now I think we're just sort of being found out. I think the Oxford game, I watched it on a stream. I think we walked into that looking complacent. We still look. I know Wilder's come out in the press conference today saying that we're not negative, but the Millwall game, every time we sort of got on the ball near the box, everyone's looking to the side or behind them. I don't know. I think there's loads of issues really. I think just the I don't know. I'd be interested to see what the vibe. Obviously, we're never going to know, but what the dressing room's like at this point as well. 3 losses on the bounce as well. 2 to teams that are low down, if not bottom of the league. When you've got it all to play for, bottled it.
Yeah. So, how much would you say Chris Wilder should be held accountable for the team's last 3 performances?
As much as anyone, to be fair, really. I think, obviously, you can't control everything on the pitch, but I think the Oxford game, we looked, like I said, complacent in that. I think sometimes you can question. I mean, I can't really call, a bit hypocritical here, I can't really call out specific examples, but there's times where you're wondering about the timing of substitutions as well. Me thinking that could have happened perhaps earlier. Why was sort of that player started over that player? And then you think, well, we're the Oxford game, maybe we can let him off for that. You're thinking, hopefully that was a bit of a, give us a bit of a kick up the arse. And then the Millwall game was just as bad, if not worse. So you're thinking, well, all right, you can make a mistake, but learn from it. And then, and he's sort of saying, we approach the games in all the same way. And it's just like, it's different. It's different teams. You've got Coventry that were going to come and try and attack us, hence why we got a lot more time and space on the ball, against teams that are going to be a bit more defensive, that aren't going to come and attack us the same way Coventry are. So don't approach them all in the same way. I think that's not helped his post-match comments against Oxford about the fans. I think he's entitled to that opinion. it's not an opinion I agree. I mean, I think I largely agree with his opinion. To be fair, I mean, I think it was out of hand for the fans to be having to go at the players. I don't agree with them, but that's their opinion. It's Wilder's opinion if he thinks that's a disgrace.
Mm-hmm.
And while he's allowed to have that opinion, I think as the manager, you can have that opinion, but you've got to be a bit more professional about it and maybe not voice, because that's not helped anything. That's not helped anything going forward at all, really.
No, not at all.
And then, like I said, we've had he's had 2 chances to like sort of learn from his mistakes. And it just seems to get him worse and worse. I don't know why. I think the only reason he's persisting with Robinson is because he's the captain. That's the only answer I can think why he's not been dropped in favour of Holding, who, from the few bits we've seen, looks far more assured and confident on the ball. I think if Holding plays the second half of that game or most of that game on Saturday at Plymouth, we win the game quite comfortably. Robinson, for me, cost us the game. He's losing his rag at the end, which is just drawing more negative. He's just building more tension, drawing more negative attention and pressure onto the club. I don't know. He just seems to be. I think obviously, we've got his hands tied to an extent with certain players, but I don't know. I just think the way we've sort of approached games and still not seen. I think it also. It says. So I think someone said on I think we've read off for Sheffield yesterday. He's all for taking the credit when the sun's shining, but he always likes to sort of pass the buck a little bit. I think when it's like these last 3 games. So I think he's as much to blame as anyone really, if not to have the most of the fault with him. Especially the 2. Maybe the first game I might let him off with, but the 2 after, you've got to learn from your mistakes, and we didn't whatsoever.
Exactly. I think you can always make a mistake once, but when it's repeated, then it's just he should be at fault for it. So, right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave it all to Marcus because he's the one that's been dying to meet you, and I'll let him ask you a few things.
Nice one.
Oh, then Marcus, all to you.
What's your first derby?
The first derby I attended in person, it was an awful 0-0. I think it was the derby after the. So we'd beaten them 4-2 at Hillsborough back in, was it September 2017? And I think this was January 2018. It was a really poor game. I think the highlight of the game was Simon Moore pulled off a good save and actually, I think, injured himself. I don't know if he winded or injured himself in the process.
I think he winded himself, weren't
yeah, and then it fell out to, was it Reach or Ross Wallace or someone? Yeah.
Adam Reach.
Who smacked it top bins, and fair play to Simon Moore. Honestly, get a statue built just for this save alone. Somehow managed to pick himself up and pull off an incredible save. And I think all that I remember from us is I remember Clayton Donaldson flicked on a header that I don't know if it was Wildsmith in net for that lot at the time that tipped it over the bar. So it was a pretty poor game. I think I went to the 3 derbies after the 4-2 and they were all really bad 0-0s. So I very much enjoyed. I didn't go to the 1-0 at their place where Brewster scored, but I was at the home game where Tyrese scored. So first time, it was my 4th derby and the first time I'd actually seen a goal for either side in a derby. But first derby and the first 3 derbies I went to, very, very poor games of football indeed.
Yeah, that was your first derby, weren't it? This one, Marcus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Who is your idol?
Oh, I mean, if you're saying sort of favourite Sheffield United player of all time, I've always had a soft spot for Jamie Murphy. He's sort of like my sort of that cult hero for me. It helps the fact that I had him on FIFA career mode at the time, and I was banging in goals with him. He fired us to the Prem. Fair play to him. And it was on world class difficulty. I didn't shirk the difficulty setting, but that helped. And I think it may be a bit biased because it wasn't perhaps the best squad at the time in League One, and he was sort of the standout star, similar to how Njai stood out in the Championship for us. And it was a very similar tactic by United. Give the ball to Njai. Back in 2014, it was give the ball to Murphy. And,
I can remember them runs down left wing.
Yeah, he was probably for me the best player in the division. And the best thing is one of those players where sort of had it with Ched a bit in that I think the first season I went to games with when we missed out in third place. But whenever Ched got on the ball, whenever Murphy, whenever then Jai got on the ball, you'd go, something's going to happen here. And 19 times out of 20, it would happen. He would either get an assist, get a shot, get a goal. But I think in terms of, I think you used the word, was it icon or idol? I'd have to be looking towards Billy Sharp as well, to be fair. Obviously, the amount of games he's played for us, he's played with us at all, played and scored with us at all three divisions. He dragged us out of, 30 goals in the League One promotion season. I think he got about 20 or so when we had Adkins, which speaks volume for him because that was a woeful season. And I think he's just, I think away from the pitch as well, he always strikes me as a very level-headed, well-rounded guy who's had some, as you know, when he was at Doncaster, had gone through some rough times in his career and, and come through them. And I think he's been a real leader on and off the pitch. Whatever division we've been in with United, just obviously loves the club as much as we do. And he just strikes me as a really sound, bit of a father figure for maybe some of the younger players, a real leader in the dressing room, on the pitch, off the pitch. And so probably, and obviously the goals he's got for us as well. And I was very, very lucky to be at Bournemouth when he got that equaliser, which is probably my best moment. So to answer the question, although I absolutely adore Murphy, I'd probably have to say Sharp.
So I've got a question with Billy Sharp, right? So if he hadn't come back in his third stint where he started scoring, would he still gone down as a legend than what he is for scoring goals?
So when what? Sorry.
So when he come back his last stint with us,
right,
if he'd never come back, would he still gone down as a legend with the amount of goals he scored, or is it the fact that he come back to Bramall Lane and he did what he did? Because I think his first two stints with us, he didn't really do that much with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think his first stint, I'm not even sure if he actually played. I can't remember. I think I listened to some of that. I think the podcast he did with Paul Walker a few years back, and I think the first stint, I'm not sure if he played for as much at all before he got loaned out to, and if it was Dagenham or Russian and Diamonds or something.
I think it was Russian and Diamonds.
Yeah, came back when he was quite young, and I was listening to someone talking about Tom Cannon the other day, and saying that it was similar to when we first had Shot. I mean, I never saw him in that first stint, but where he didn't look the best and that. Obviously, he got a couple of goals for us here and there. But yeah, definitely that third stint, because that's he was here for so long. I mean, when he came back in 2015 and then didn't leave until about, I think it was 2023. So he had the best part of 8 years. And obviously he scored so many goals for us, especially in the first 3 or 4 seasons as well. Got us one of the main reason we got out of League One. One of the main reasons we got into the Prem. He even got a couple for us in the Prem when everyone's writing him off. So yeah, definitely that the third stint, should I say? Encapsulates just that's all. Puts him as probably one of. It helps that he's a fan, but one of just the, or if not our greatest ever. Or maybe not the best player of all time, but still legend of all legends.
I'd say for our generation, he probably is.
Yeah, I think he's just maybe not the best ever, but the most iconic.
Yeah. Well, then, Marcus, over to you.
Favourite team other than United?
Oof, there's no one. I've always sort of watching. I don't support them by any stretch, but I've always sort of enjoyed watching Everton. I think when I first got into football, I think maybe similar to yourself, Marcus, but get into it, start playing FIFA and all that. And I played with Sheffield. I thought I only felt I'd playing football games. So I thought I need someone better than this, but I didn't want someone too good. So I thought I don't want to play with Man U that had Ronaldo or Liverpool that had Torres. I thought play someone slightly worse. Play with Everton. It was a nice level, and I've always liked them. I've always wanted them to beat Liverpool. And my flatmate at uni was an Everton fan, and to be honest, I've always enjoyed watching him struggle as well, just for his reaction. So I always sort of enjoy watching Everton. Whether they win or lose, it's always entertaining for me one way or another, just because of my mate that's a season ticket holder there. And just watching his reactions and then watching him. I like to watch a bit of non-league as well, to be fair, around the grounds. At the minute, I've been watching. I went to watch Johnny Rovers the other week. A bit of a Tories fan. I was there to watch Sharp. I think I was celebrating more than the Rovers fans when he got backheeled it in the net.
My other son, he's likes Doncaster Rovers. He's got a Donny Rovers shirt with Sharp on back just for Billy Sharp.
That's it, innit? He's Sharp. I'm not a fan of Donny Rovers, but I'm a fan of Billy Sharp. If you can't already tell, I'd probably say, probably someone non-league. I'm trying to think who, because I watch. I'll probably go, if I was pushed, maybe Drumfield Town. Very close between them and Hallam FC, to be fair.
Sheffield FC's.
Oh, you Sheffield. I'm off to watch Hallam on Saturday in the playoff final.
Yeah, Hillsborough.
Yeah.
Hillsborough now, aren't they? Not Sandygate.
Yeah, I think I think that's the cup final, because I think the cup final is going to be at New York. I think the playoff. I hope it's still there on Saturday. I think the playoff finals, big end to the season. They got the playoff final and the cup final as well.
Yeah, had a good season.
Yeah, I like Sheffield, and I used to live in walking distance. I used to live at Lowages until the start of this year. So I used to have like a 20-minute walk down, but they charge £10 and everyone else charges £6, so they went down in my estimation a bit. But
I got my son one at shirts for him, and I think that was like £50, and it's like you're a non-league team, and he's charging £50 for a shirt.
Yeah,
but I will say this: the quality of the shirt were a lot better than ours these days.
Yeah. I know. Like, I think with Area, they've had some good designs, but I remember West Brom away a couple of seasons and the Heckin NJ's badge fell off, and he's like holding it up in his goal celebration.
Yeah, I remember.
And that's the players' kit. So, but I'll probably Drumfield Town, but they've been relegated. So I wish them all the best, because they're not exactly the wealthiest club.
Yeah. What's your next question, Marcus?
Best game.
Best game.
Ooh. I can't give a straight answer to anything. Between two, to be fair, I'd probably tip Bournemouth away. I guess in terms of the memories attached to it, probably in terms of the best game in terms of watching it as a neutral. The 3-3 draw against Man U springs to mind. So like if I was watching that, say if that was, I don't know, Man U Everton or something, I'd go, oh, what a game. Sort of like I was watching Villa last night. It was like a really good game. So in terms of that, objectively talking about the match as an entertainment for a neutral, the 3-3 with Man U was probably the most entertaining. But in terms of how I felt, I'd probably tip Bournemouth away, the 1-1. Obviously, first game back in the Prem. It's the first time I'd started like following us live from about 2011. So I guess you might be still in the market. First time that you saw us in the Prem as well. It definitely was for me, like seeing them live in the Prem. And it was just like, I think this is like my life has led up to this moment. I like watching us in the Prem. Really, really lucky to get a ticket. And a really good day because someone's had like a bit of hospitality before and got the best of both worlds. Hospitality, then got to sit in the away end. And then just gave a decent performance. Obviously, we were losing, but I wasn't disheartened at all with it. And then just that goal at the end. I mean, when it went in, I didn't even know who'd scored. I thought it was like McBurney or something. So an absolute chaos and just the emotion just when that went. Then I found out it was Sharp, and it was just like took it up like it was twice as good, and just the emotion in that moment will like live with me like forever. That another one not long after as well was Chelsea away, because growing up, you've got like a few Donny fans and everyone's like Premier League fans, and we were just some League One team, growing up through that secondary school and that. And everyone supporting like Prem teams and that, and then obviously we're 2-0 down at half time, thinking, and it was really 2-0 at half time, thinking, well, it is Chelsea and they had good players, but the goals we gave away were like woeful. Like Bash and Egan Bash and O'Connell got in each other's way. Henderson like dropped the ball. Really, like if they were like League One standard, got really poor goals to give away. So it was really disheartening. Then obviously, I think it was Robinson pulled us one back early in second half, and then getting that late equaliser at Stamford Bridge. One of my favourite grounds, because it's a proper ground. It's not the biggest, but I'd rather have something like that than Tottenham, really, or the Emirates, or the Etihad. And proper, like thinking against Chelsea, one of the biggest teams in the world. Champions League winners.
They were up there, weren't they?
Yeah.
At that time when we beat them, they were up there.
Yeah, they were. I think it's when they had Fat Frank as manager, because we were singing "You're Just a Shit Derby County" to him, because he had Mason Mount and all that. So
yeah,
that late equal, although it was an own goal, I didn't care. Just that was when that went in, I was just disbelief. I was like, I cannot believe I am seeing this now. So Chelsea away and Bournemouth away, 2 draws, but the emotion of them late equalisers meant they'll stay with me forever.
What were your favourite game, Marcus?
United versus Wednesday at our ground.
The 1-0 win.
Yeah.
Tyrese Campbell.
Scenes when that goal went in. Scenes.
Yeah. But do you know, before that had happened, don't you think it was a pretty dull game? Like everyone were like, they didn't want to put foot down. They were too nervous.
Yeah, I think I was speaking when we were watching the recent derby. I think quite a lot of, I think like someone said it on Radio Chef as well, people really don't want to be the one that makes that mistake. So everyone, it's like really, a lot of the derbies that I've seen have been really cagey. The only different one was the 4-2, just because we got a really early goal.
I don't think they expected that, because we'd only just gone up, hadn't we?
Yeah, and they were like, I mean, obviously Wednesday thought they were going to win about 8-0, and I was like, I'm not looking forward to this. And then the lineup comes out, I'm looking forward to it even less. But like I said, got that early goal, and then that drew Wednesday out as well. So no one could sit back. So and then since then, I guess we've gone into all the subsequent derbies as probably the favourite, to be fair.
Yeah,
which I don't
like.
Said
that. I think that was like the crossing of the guard bit. I think that's where we became the dominant team in Sheffield. I think since that moment, if then they didn't go up, I think that would have declined them, because they put so much into it trying to go up and they never did it. I think the finances never recovered from it.
Yeah, it was. I think Wilder mentioned it in his post-match interview with after we beat Wednesday at Hillsborough about it was terrifying, because there was that season where we'd finished, I think, about 11th in League One. And then they were like in the Championship playoff final, and thank God Mo Diarmi scored like an incredible goal. I was celebrating that as if it was like United, honestly.
Yeah, but I remember
and then they missed out again the season after in playoffs with the Huddersfield, and then at that point they were sort of running out of steam and couldn't really afford to. They got all these expensive players and they weren't getting promoted, so it was
I remember watching it thinking when they were at Wembley, like Wednesday took a lot of fans there, and Hull didn't really have any, and they couldn't perform in front of the fans on that day. And they were a better team at the time, and they just couldn't do it. It was horrendous for them. I mean, lucky for us, but bad for them. But I agree.
Playoff finals, isn't it? Though it just comes down to.
Oh, mate, I'm dreading it.
We've got to get there first.
I know. Well, I'm ever the optimist. I'm hoping they drop off against Watford. I mean, they've still got they've got Watford, QPR, Millwall, and us, Burnley. I think they've got the order run.
Yeah, we've got. Yeah, it's just the thing is, just we've got to win all our 4. I mean, after the last 3, I'm not confident about us beating Cardiff at the moment.
What's your next question, Marcus?
Who's your favourite player now?
Currents. Who would I say my favourite now is? Do like Tyrese Campbell. We've got the back. The thing is, at the minute, they all annoy me.
I know that's
it. I think I might have to say I'm a fan of Tyrese Campbell. I'm really impressed with how well he's done this season. It's a player, sort of striker that kind of striker that we've not always had. We've had strikers that have been able to do different things, but having like a really good out and out striker, then bit of pace, great finish. Big fan of him. Like Gus, but he's inconsistent. Probably Tyrese. I'm trying to think who else there is. See, there's a few of them that I sort of like, but there's not that many at the minute that I really love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's even been worse seasons in the past but I've still loved the likes of like Skugel or Flynn.
Ryan Flynn,
or just like when we had like Maguire in League One, and there's players like that they might not be like the best player at the time, but there's just something about them that just endears you to them. Probably God, who have we got? It's like Cooper, very, very good keeper, but I don't love him. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. Robinson annoys me. I would have said Harry Souttar, but he's gone. So I'll go with Tyrese Campbell.
Tyrese Campbell, does he remind you of David McGoldrick? Because that's all. Every time I watch him play, that's all he reminds me of, David McGoldrick, constantly. I feel like if he had a poacher up front of him like he had with Billy Sharp, it'd be second coming. The chances would come.
Yeah, I think I do often think that we could benefit. I think even Cannon as well. I'm sort of a bit of a Cannon defender in a way because I think
he hasn't really been given his chance, has he?
It's not the right play. You may as well put flipping Michael Cooper up top for as well suited he is to the role. Mm-hmm. And I think if we had that 5-3-2, 3-5-2, the classic Wilder formation where you had that up top duo, like you said, I think he's sort of an interesting one because he sort of reminded me like he's sort of built a bit like Sharp in a way, but he's like quicker. Yeah. He's decent on the ball, but I think sometimes he could do with. I think also a good if you're like doing if you had to fair McGoldrick now still doing bits. Get McGoldrick in and let's play him up top with Campbell.
Yeah,
so we'll walk the league.
I'm telling you, it's just shame legs grow old, isn't it? That's the only problem.
He's still doing flipping McGoldrick. He's still done a job for us this season. He's doing so well in League Two. Good on him. But,
yeah. What's your next question, Marcus?
Who inspired you to join YouTube?
Well, I remember at the time when did I join? About February 2018. Flipping it, 7 years. Horrendous. I was a big fan of the Sidemen at the time, so like you can see KSI, Mini Minter, all that jazz. I was very big fans of them at the time, so I remember thinking I wouldn't mind sort of getting into it. I'd done the odd like daft FIFA video here and there, but I thought I wouldn't mind, properly having a go at YouTube. And I remember I think I even bought, how cringe is this? I bought like the flipping Sidemen book, and I thought, the night before my first vlog, I thought, I'm gonna have a go at this. I'm off to Leicester away tomorrow. I think the main inspiration as well was Johnny from Shoreham View, the late great Johnny Gascoigne from Shoreham View.
Yeah, I
remember at the time you were starting to get YouTubers on football more. I think AFTV was like starting up. Obviously, you had like United Stand that had gone viral with Andy Tate. You got Goldbridge, so you'd got all this like loads of like maybe not as saturated as it is now, but a lot of more and more YouTube content coming out. I think Johnny started around 2013, 2014. I think about 2014 he started doing videos, and then later 2014, early 2015 doing a couple of match day vlogs. And you like watching them, you're thinking like they're obviously really well produced, really well edited, really quite professional. And you're thinking, and then they just got more. Even the early stuff, there was quite, really professional, not over edited, just really enjoyable, like down to earth, like the perfect mix. Really had really good, like obviously the editing and the production, but the people, it wasn't fake. It was just him filming his mates, Big Rob, his dad, just filming them just for who they are. You're thinking like, oh wow, like brilliant! Like we've now got like finally like we were like a League One team, but we've got like really good content creator now. We've got something. Just felt. I think also at that point as well, the club were doing. There was no behind the blades or anything like that.
Yeah.
The club were really. I mean, they've come on leaps and bounds since we got promoted to the Prem in 2019. So we didn't really have anything back when until along came Johnny with Shoreham View, and I think it was like the night or a few nights before my first vlog when I thought I'm thinking of starting out doing a match day vlog. I thought I'll do it a bit differently to Johnny. There's a few things I thought I'll do a bit different. I didn't want to obviously try and just do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
A vlog's a vlog, but try and make it my own a bit. And I remember saying to him, I was thinking of starting out, any advice and all, watch. And he just one bit that really like stood out from what he said was, it sounds like a bit of a cliche, but it really does ring true. Is just be yourself and make it your own, really, and then people like you for you, and it'll grow. So the main inspiration would be Johnny and Shoreham View.
Yeah, well, I remember Johnny. I went to school with him. We were in the same class. Fair Stray. His mum taught us both. But nice. he always had an eye for videos and that, because I remember back then we were in this phase where we were into Jackass a right lot. So I can always remember him like filming himself doing, little stunts and all that. But yeah, he went on and he had a good successful career doing it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Jackass thing. I was speaking to someone else that I think went to, I can't remember this guy's name, but I think he was also at school or college with Johnny. And he's on about Johnny wants like headbutting some pins on a table.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, they were drawing pins and he'll put them out of his head on hitting middle of classroom as well. Yeah. What's your next question, Marcus?
What's your prediction for Cardiff?
Oh, well, optimistically 1-0 United. Hopefully 1-0 to United. But who knows? I'm really looking forward to Friday because I haven't got a clue what is going to flipping happen. We might. I think I just end up sort of being a bit sort of sadistic with it, where I'm just going to end up. Everyone's going to be like effing and blinding and leaving, and I'll just be sat there like shaking my head, smiling, just like insane. Like if you get punched that many times in your head, you just go in clinically insane, just smiling all the time. So it's. I mean, all I'm hoping now is that because we're in such a not such a worse positions to be in, but because we've really dropped off, that might alleviate the pressure a bit, and they might relax a bit, and it might even bring out a better side of United. Whereas the last three, it's been like a monkey on the shoulder, like, oh, we're going to lose ground. Now that we've already lost the ground, maybe they'll be a bit more relaxed and be a bit more expressive in their play. But yeah, I think it could be a very toxic atmosphere if it goes wrong. So I'm not looking forward to that side of it.
Yeah, I think that.
I mean, there's boos at the Millwall game, weren't there? And we've had Plymouth since then. And then you've got I don't know what happened at Plymouth, but apparently at the end of first half, Robinson's gesturing.
Yeah, I've heard it's had to go with away fans. Well, you know what it is? I don't think they're booing the players. I think they're booing the performance rather than anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've got people travelling all that far, and he shouldn't be turning to fans and saying things like that. Do you know what I mean? No. His captain needs to get his head down and get everyone out. Do you know what I mean? He can't be doing things like that. No.
These are it's not quite there yet, but these are sort of like signs of. It's usually like when a club's lower down the league and the manager's just about the manager's on his way out, that kind of thing. And we're flipping third in the league, but we're looking. You've got Wilder just having an argument with Plymouth fans.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened in the tunnel. You've got him calling out the fans. You've got Robinson doing. I don't know what he did. It's like what you'd expect from a team that's 19th in League One and manager's on his way out.
I look at Wilder now, and I think he looked beat like he did when he left us last time. He looked beat already. I'm just hoping he's recouped himself this week and we're ready to go again Friday.
I've not watched all the press conference yet, but my mate was sort of messaging me bits on that, and it sounds like he's just doubling down on his stance and his approach. And I think what makes Wilder great is also his downfall as well. Sort of sometimes his stubbornness, and he doesn't accept that. He's a breath of fresh air. And when it's going well, it's brilliant. But when it's not going well, I'd rather have someone with the level-headed nature of Hecky that just sort of rather than
how it is.
Yeah, whereas Wilder will get a bit mardy and petulant and he'll lose his rag a bit, and it helps no one, especially himself.
He can never just take responsibility for something going wrong. I think he struggles with, just accepting what's gone wrong. Like with Leeds, that killed him to say he got it wrong.
Yeah.
Little things like that. I think he struggles with accountability for stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, when you just said it's spot on, when it's going right, it's great. But when it's going wrong, he don't like to accept what's happening. No.
Well
then, Marcus.
Who's your favourite manager?
Chris Wilder. After all that, saying, "Oh, is this, that, and the other?" But no, I think obviously he's done brilliantly with us this season. No one could have done anything with it last season. That was just a sinking. It wasn't a sinking ship. It was already flipping on the seabed, cracked in two. And this season could have gone very wrong. Look at Luton, no less. I think a few months ago, someone was having a go at Wilder. As many Wilder fanboys there are that don't criticise him, there's just as many that never want to praise him and always criticise him. And I was like, well, this season could have gone very, very differently. You just have to look at Luton, who would have also had the parachute payments. And probably when you're coming down, you're probably thinking they're probably set to do the best out of the three of us, and they've actually done by far the worst. So he's done very obviously galvanising the players and the club as a whole after the horrendous scenes from last season. Just how depressing last season was. I think there's a few decisions here and there. The signing of Cannon. I don't agree with. I think we could have spent. We needed a replacement for Suter. We brought in Holding. We've not played Holding. There's a few things here and there. I think maybe some of the in-game management was spoken about where we've still not got the chemistry in that. But still, I think maybe a bit of bad luck with injuries. If we keep Suter, I think we're definitely in the top two. If we have our blaster all season, if Sousa stays fit. But this is football, it's how it happens. You can't use that as an excuse. But I think especially for his first tenure, maybe not how it ended, but that 2016 to March 2020, incredible times as a United fan. Everything. I don't know if I'll ever see anything like that again. Really, we're going to have like another 6 years in League One to actually try and replicate how that felt.
Yeah.
It just was absolutely beyond my wildest dreams, pardon the pun. But yeah, no, that was really, really special. That League One season up to the COVID, it'll never happen again. And that is a very, very fun time in both my United life and life in general. And I think it's sort of funny football. Like there's times when it's going that well for that long, to be fair. You might have good moments in your life, and it makes them even better. I had mates that gave birth to their first kid in that period. They got married in that period, and it just heightens the celebration. But I know also like if you're having bad times in that period as well, and your day-to-day life is getting you down, because Wilder's United was just so good, and kept winning. There was always something to look forward to at the end of the week. So it was. There was a few times in that period where I was, wasn't having the best of days, but United and Wilder, because of Wilder and the whole squad as well. We had an incredible bunch of lads. Always gave you something to look forward to and keep you going. So yeah, definitely Chris Wilder.
I don't know what Marcus has found funny. What's your next question, Marcus?
How old was you when you started making videos?
I think, how old was I? It was February 2018. I think I was 19. I was 19 when I started. I want to sound like a little kid here, 19 and a half.
19 and a half.
Yeah. I think it was did Leicester away in the FA Cup and we lost 1-0 to Jamie Vardy, of course. Who else?
Oh, it had to be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So it makes me laugh though. It's like Marcus and my other son, they've been to more away games than I've been to. I think I've only been to an Anfield. They've been Chesterfield, Rotherham. Yeah, done a lot more than me. What's your next question, Marcus?
What's your real name?
My real name is Ben.
Oh, there you go.
Real name is Ben.
I'll tell you something about Marcus, right? Every time we go to a match, right, because we sit a bit further down from you, he's constantly looking at behind to see if he can find you.
Well, I'll be there on Friday, all being well.
Yeah, he'll try come and find you. I think he's got a picture with you already, I think.
Yeah, I thought I recognised you, Marcus. I thought I've seen you knocking around the Kop.
What's your next question, Marcus?
Don't think I got any more.
You ain't got any more? What's he doing? While we're waiting, we'll go through some comments. Right, Marcus. So we've got Julie saying, "Cannot wait for this to go live. Go for it, Marcus." And we've got Jimmy saying, "Yes, boys."
Good old Jimmy.
Told Jimmy. We got Dave, Ricky, Marcus, big time now with Trevor Blade. I know, moving on up, aren't we? Got Liam, even lads up. Yo, well, some good points being made. Hope they're just,
always
the Blades.
nothing less.
That's it. Really enjoyable chat, lads. Oh, dear, hello, boys. Sheffield.
We're getting them tonight.
Yeah, we're getting them all here, aren't we?
Fucking right, Rogues Gallery.
Sorry I'm late, but great to see the legend Travelling Blades on.
I wonder if that's Hal or Nick or.
I reckon it'll be Nick. Oh, wait, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It will be fair. Great to see the Blades on winning house for Mickey Marks Baker. Great job with Travelling Blade. Well, also, I'm Sheffield United with. We're all here, aren't they? Right, late to the party, got to sing. Who's Travelling Blade? Nice. And that's the last one. Oh, yeah, actually 19.35.
I might have been work it out. Maybe do it to the nearest minute. But,
nearest minute.
Well, I've got a question for both of you two then.
Go on then.
Who, out of the whole time that you've both been watching United, who's your, doesn't have to be necessarily the best player, it might be the same answer, but who's your both favourite player out of your whole time watching United?
I'll let Marcus go.
McBurney.
McBurney? Yours is McBurney? I thought that were Ricky's.
Can't really think of anyone else aside from him.
He was quite the character, to be fair to him. He was a lovely
yeah, he were. He weren't my favourite player, but I think if I were going to have to pick one, it'd probably have to be James Beattie.
Yeah.
The couple of seasons he had with us, mate. I know Billy Sharp were good, but he couldn't lace up James Beattie's shoes at that time. His eye for goal, mate. There was no one what could do it for it. Free kicks, penalties, everything.
Yeah.
And then probably second, it's got to be NJ on it.
Yeah, NJ, special player. I wish him all the best. As I said earlier, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Everton, so I'm quite glad that he's there. Like of all the other clubs he could be at, I'm glad that he's in the Premier League. And maybe because I met him last time I met my mate's an Everton fan, he was like saying he might be the best dribbler of the ball I've ever seen, and I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty decent. So wish him all the best with his career, and hopefully kicks on, maybe goes on to even bigger and better things. And I think
it kills me seeing him play in a different shirt,
next
especially when it's in England.
I know. Next season or two, he needs to probably have to swap club and hopefully get some Champions League, because that's where it belongs.
If we go up and we play against him, I can't watch it. I can't watch it, mate.
It's all right, you'll be fine because we're not going up.
Mate.
I'm hoping to crash out in the semis. That's what I'm hoping for. Because
right.
I'm meant to be out in the playoff finals. That's Saturday the 24th. I'm meant to be out in Manchester for my mate's birthday.
Right.
And I can't be asked going to Wembley. Can we just please lose in the semis? And I'll thank you. Get it over with.
Passive optimism, I say that one is.
That's the plan. Lose in the semis, save us all a lot of time and money.
I think it's all part of Wilder's master plan. You know, like make out like that's it. We'll drop some points here. I'll do something we've never done before. We'll win playoffs. That's what it'll be, and we'll scrape it 1-0 every game. Yeah,
just for his own ego to say I'm the first one and the only one that got the playoffs for Sheffield United.
That's it. It's like the record what he holds for double now. I think we ain't conceded a goal in that double what we did over Wednesday in like 100 and some years. Any more questions, Marcus?
This must be why I keep starting Robinson, just so we can get in the playoffs.
yeah, definitely. I don't get how we start, me personally.
I think it's just because he's captain, and I'm like, that shouldn't really matter that much. But I think just because it's a bit of a big ceremonial thing to drop the captain. So
Billy Sharp were our captain, weren't he, though, with Eke, and he spent most of his time on bench.
Yeah.
You know, that last season, he didn't play all that much, and he spent majority of his time on bench, do you know what I mean? So that can't be a factor. Like my opinion is, I think you maybe see a bit of Chris Morgan in him, and difference is Chris Morgan had control aggression, didn't he? Whereas Jack Robinson is a spark waiting to happen. Just needs a little spark with a bit of petrol, and that's it. Is off.
Yeah, he's just all over the place as well. Like he's not even particularly that great in the air. Like Saturday was just a highlight reel of everything that's rubbish about Robinson, to be fair, on both goals.
Yeah. Congrats on the nice subs. Thank you. Phil Jagielka and Michael Brown. Good shout, to be fair. Jags, I love Jags. And I love Jack O'Connell. That's probably my favourite defender for us of all time. I wish he never got injured.
Oh, he'd have played. I think
he'd still been here.
Playing with England as well. I think if he stayed fit, played with England.
You know what's mad to think? He's still only 31.
Mad. Oh,
31. Where he's playing in Charity Bash, I'm going to say, if his legs look all right,
Wheel him on.
That's what I'm saying. Get him back on. Hey, as if it's how I don't give him any. So, Illumin is a good shout. Yeah. Couldn't lace Morgan's boots. I'm sure that's about Jack Robinson, and if that's the case, I can't do all but agree with you. He's shocking. He's shocking. I can't get over him.
I had a lot of time and respect for Robinson last season because there were times where they all looked. He looked like to be the only one that cared a lot of the time. Where they'd all be like trudging back to the halfway line, heads down. He'd like look annoyed and like actually took it to heart. So, I think he won Player of the Year, and I think I probably voted for him as well. And then but this season, it's just I don't know. He's doing his legacy a bit of damage, I think, last couple of games, and not just with his on-field performances, but the way he's just gesturing at fans and that. It's like, you were sort of the best of a bad bunch, really, and now you're becoming, the worst of quite a mediocre bunch.
I think his skill set is limited on what he can do, and now I think he's reached his ceiling, and he's getting found out a lot more because obviously there's a lot of younger, fitter players going at him than previous years, because Championship, anyone can beat anyone. And I don't know, I just feel like he's can't control himself. Like if he's getting beaten, he's not trying to go for a tackle, he's just ragging him down. It's like last year with him, he put a bit of effort in because he'd lunged for a tackle and all that lot, but I think people get blinded by that. Let's not forget, this is a duo with him and Nanel what conceded 104 goals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like people raved about Ben Osborne because he came on and he put a bit of effort in, and we should have given him a new contract. But in all respect to Ben Osborne, he should have not nowhere been near first team. He's not good enough, but effort don't count for talent, and you can try as much as you want, but if you ain't got talent to match it, there's no point.
I mean, like Robinson as well, you touched on it there about his temperament, and like on Saturday, he's like arguing with the ref over like a throw-in or something. It's like, just calm down. Like, he ends up like fighting with players and arguing with the ref and arguing with players. Meant to be the captain. So when you got like him doing that, you've got Wilder losing his head, and that's the manager and the captain. What chance have we got if they can't keep their heads, and they're the two leaders of the club? Two leaders of at least the squad. No wonder it's like all going to pot. Like I said, I mean, if you look at that, if you think about it now, a lot of people say about some of the big six teams and Man U and Spurs. But like in terms of like leaders on the pitch, I think we're quite lacking at the minute.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. With you. Do you know what though? Right, like when I watch City Peck, I can see him being a future captain. I've seen it a few times where Robbo's lost his head, and it's City what's going over to split everything up to disperse players away from referee.
How bad's that? It's like 20
exactly. That's a young lad. But like I said, my biggest issue with Robbo, like with situations like that, he should be the one guiding the younger players. He shouldn't be having a 20-year-old lad running up to him to tell him what to do. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be happening.
It's loses rag far too quick, and he's also like lapsadaisical and haphazard in his defending, even when he's not angry.
Exactly. So I think we need to end that on a positive note, not on the Jack Robinson downfall. So Marcus, I'll let you give your result for Friday. What do you think's going to happen?
1-0.
1-0. And you've already said a 1-0, haven't you?
1-0. Gustavo.
I'm going to say we're going to smash them 4-0. It's going to be the first time we've scored +3 goals in a league game all season. And I think it's going to be down to Wilder whipping them with that rod. He's got to get on him. I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to create and we think we're going to dominate the game.
Bloody hell. Fair play. I like the optimism. I'm not sure we'll get the rest of the season.
we ain't got the turf more yet. You'll see what happens here. Right, on that note, I'm going to thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back again. Thank you. Go to say, Marcus.
Up the blades.
Up the blades. See you later.
See you, mate. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Right.